You might be wondering, how should you build your Magic Swordmaster, especially knowing that the 50 cap is coming. It doesn't matter if you are just starting the game, building your sub-character or planning to make him your main class. Today's video will help you decide what builds you should go for. Hey, what is going on guys, this is Zen here, and today we will be going through everything you need to know about the Magic Swordmaster, his playstyle, how to best build him for the future 50 cap, his skill build, rotation, and many more. Without further ado, let's begin this video. Before we go into the builds, let us first discuss who is the Magic Swordmaster perfect for. The Magic Swordmaster's role in the party is to act as a backline DPS that slowly chips away enemy HP without them knowing. This class is perfect for players who do not want to take the role of a tanker or a healer in the party, and you just simply want to support the team from dealing damage from behind. You can compare this class to archers who deal damage from further distances and try not to aggravate enemies. A key difference here is that the Magic Swordmaster has cooler skill animations than archers but lesser mobility. However, the Magic Swordmaster has one shortfall that is tied to his main offensive stat, which is intellect. Classes that use magic attack are generally more difficult to build than strength-based or agility-based classes, since magic attack can only be increased from the intellect stat. Meanwhile, a physical class like a mercenary gets physical attack from both STR and AGI, which makes building them much easier as compared to intellect classes. For a magic class, it is still important, however, to get AGI stat since it increases our critical rate. This does not mean that the Magic Swordmaster is bad, it just means that you will need to put more goal and effort when building him to deal higher damage. Despite this slight disadvantage, the Magic Swordmaster is still a very popular class among Dragoness players since his skills are just way too cool. If you have already decided to play the Magic Swordmaster, let us now move on to how to build him. I will be sharing with you 3 builds today, and these 3 builds can be used until the release of 50 cap before you switch to level 50 gear. The first build is the budget crit build. Under this build, our priority is to get your Magic Swordmaster with the highest crit possible without spending gold on 3rd stat heraldries and perfect potentials. For your equipment, you will be using the full apocalypse set, which gives magic attack as its set bonus. For your suffixes, you should use magic for your sword, tent for your gauntlet, wheel for your gloves since it gives the highest INT stat among the other suffixes, and finally for the rest of your armors, go for the wind suffix, which will give you more AGI stat that increases your critical rate. As for your accessories, you should get the intellect Sylvie necklace and earrings, focusing on the ones that have pure agility and intellect stats for higher critical, and pairing it with 2 fatal Sylvie rings. As you can see from this build, we are using a lot of crit-based suffixes and accessories to get as much critical as we can. We will sacrifice some intellect stats to gain critical since critical hits deal 2 times more damage than non-critical hits, which is a huge deal. Now, the hidden potential that you are looking for in your weapon, secondary weapon, and rings is the one with 5.75% magic attack, intellect percent, and agility percentage. And for your armors, aim for the potential with intellect stat, AGI stat, and max HP. These potentials will give you a good balance of both offensive and defensive stats. The second build we are going to talk about today is the mid-range crit build. In this build, you will focus on getting intellect and magic attack power from your equipment and spend more gold to gain critical by getting perfect potentials. We will still be using the Apocalypse set with the mid-range crit build. For your sword, gauntlet, and gloves, you will be using the same suffix as the budget crit build earlier, which is magic for your sword, tent for your gauntlet, and wheel for your gloves. However, instead of using wind suffix for the rest of your armor, you will apply the intellect suffix instead, which gives you INT stat. For the mid-range crit build accessories, you will use the intellect Sylvie necklace and earrings similar to the budget build, focusing on AGI and intellect stat, but for your rings, you will be using 2 magic Sylvie rings instead. For the potentials, you will need to get perfect potentials for your weapons, secondary weapon, and both of your rings, which is the one with 5.75 magic attack, intellect percentage, and 17% crit. This is the most important part of this build for a player who is considering to go for the mid-range crit build. These 4 perfect potentials will be your main source of critical. If you do not have the goal to get these 4 potentials, it is recommended to just stick to the budget crit build instead. If you have the goal to get them, your damage will outperform the budget crit build because you will have higher intellect and magic attack. For your armors, you will still use the intellect percent, AGI percent, and max HP percent as the go-to for potentials. And finally, we have the ultra high-end build. I like to call this one the kidney stealer build. Why? In this build, your main goal is to get the full legendary Sea Dragon equipment, where you will have to start with the unique Sea Dragon set, go through the 3 stages of evolution, clear the Sea Dragon Nest hardcore mode, and finally convert your unique STN gear to legendary grade. This will cost you a lot of gold and might even break your bank. Jokes aside, you will still be using the same suffixes as the mid-range crit build. As a reminder, that is magic for the sword, tent for the gauntlet, will for gloves, and intellect for the rest of your armors. Moving on to the accessories, you might have well guessed it, we are using the full unique Sea Dragon Nest accessories. The ones you will buy are the ones that gives the highest INT and magic attack, which I will put in the pictures for you here. At the time of this recording, it is unsure whether we will have the legendary accessories. Nonetheless, players in this category will want to clear the Sea Dragon Nest hardcore mode, and getting the unique accessories will still be a good investment for you to clear the nest easier until you can upgrade to the legendary accessories if it drops. With not much information on the legendary grade accessories, we will still have to do a stat comparison if it releases. As for your potentials, you will need to get perfect potentials for your weapon and secondary weapon, which will give you crit, magic attack, and INT stat. However, since players in this category will have the resources to go for 3rd stat critical heraldry, you can also choose to buy 3rd stat critical plates until you reach around 80% crit without the need for perfect potentials. From my own observations, however, getting the perfect potentials for your STN weapon and secondary weapon will be much cheaper than buying 3rd stat critical heraldry, but the choice is entirely up to you as the player. Meanwhile, for the armors, it will be the usual INT percentage, AGI percentage, and max HP as well. Now a quick side note for this build, for those of you who have already overcapped your critical rate with this build, do not worry and definitely do not start destroying your 3rd stat critical plates either. So here's why. When the level 50 cap drops, the critical cap will also increase as well. So what seems like too much crit for now will no longer be overcapped once the new 50 cap is released. In fact, your current crit rate might end up feeling a little bit low in the new meta. Also, most players in this group will not be changing their full equipment sets until the Green Dragon equipment releases. So there is no need for you to lower your critical rate now, just keep your critical rate high and it will pay off once the 50 cap releases. For this next section, we will be talking about the heraldry. In general, you can use 8 level 40 epic heraldries to balance damage and defense for your Magic Swordmaster. The 8 types of plates are Magic, Intellect, Wind, Health, Life Vitality, Iron Wall, Tent, and Fatal. For the budget crit and mid-range crit build, there is no need for players to get any 3rd stat for the plates. However, if you are going for the Kidney Stealer build, you can mix and match the crit plates with your perfect potentials as previously mentioned to get at least 80% crit. If your budget has no limits, you can even consider buying final damage 3rd stat plates to further increase your damage. But please do not throw all your life savings for more damage and spend responsibly. So you might be wondering, should you go for build number 1 or build number 2? Especially since both use the same Apocalypse set. The answer depends on one key thing: how much gold you are willing to spend to invest in your Magic Swordmaster. If you have the gold to spare and you're able to roll for perfect potentials on your weapons and accessories, then build number 2 is the way to go. It offers higher overall damage due to more focus on magic attack stat from your accessories. But if you are a free-to-play player or someone who is trying to manage your gold efficiently, I highly recommend sticking to build number 1, or at least focus on getting or enhancing your Apocalypse gear to plus 11 or higher before even considering build number 2. This is because the level 50 cap is just around the corner and your enhancement levels can be transferred to the upcoming level 50 equipment. That means whatever gold you invest now in your Apocalypse equipment is not wasted. You will still have to re-roll for your perfect potentials in your level 50 equipment later on if you choose to go for build number 2. Having a full plus 11 or plus 12 Apocalypse set will not only make your current content easier, but it also gives you a better chance of being accepted into public parties in the future. Once you have chosen build number 1 or build number 2, try not to change it until the next 50 cap releases, since it will be a waste of your resources and gold to swap out the suffixes and potentials. For those spending a lot of money in-game and is planning to go for Sea Dragon equipment, you do not have to worry about anything and just go ahead and continue evolving your Sea Dragon Nest gear for now. Now we can finally talk about the skill Heraldry. I recommend the Half Moon Slash action speed, Crescent Cleave damage, Moonlight Splitter damage, and Great Wave damage type plates. The reason to go for Half Moon Slash attack speed is to reduce the charging time before the Magic Swordmaster releases its slash. This reduces the likelihood of needing to cancel the animation while charging up during a sudden boss or stage mechanic. However, if you find that you are comfortable with a slower charge up time, you can also opt for the damage type plate, but in my opinion, increasing the mobility of your Magic Swordmaster is more important than dealing slightly higher damage from that one skill. Alright, now let's talk about my skill build for the Magic Swordmaster. So let's start with Warrior skill tree page first. As a warrior, you will always want to max out your tumble, your dash. For tumble, it reduces the cooldown time, and for dash, it increases your movement speed by some additional points which I do not really understand, but it also reduces the amount of mana points that is consumed while dashing. For my other skill which I have maxed out here is Impact Wave, because it is the only skill in the warrior skill tree page that deals magical attack. One thing for the Magic Swordmaster is that he doesn't have a lot of skills to cast, so getting as many skills as you can to dish out magical attack is quite important, at least in my opinion. And for the other skills, I learned a little bit of physical mastery. Max it out wherever you can because it increases your max HP, very good for nests and also raid parties. And also I increased to level 1 for mental mastery and mental conquer. For Highlander, of course, it is a must learn skill for every warrior. If you do not have this, just reset your skill and learn these guys. And Relief, you also want to max this out. And also another thing I learned is the dash kick. I pretty much just learned this because I needed the warrior XP for me to unlock my ultimate. That's all about it for the warrior skill tree page. For the Swordmaster page, of course, for a Magic Swordmaster, your skills will always come in the right side. So max out all the skills in the right side of your skill tree page and you learn Great Wave instead of learning Infinity Edge for your ultimate. Another few skills that you should max out are your debuffs, which is Provoking Slam, and also your buff, which is Brave. For my remaining skill points, I also learned Triple Slash because, well, just because I have the additional skill points and I didn't really want to learn either just the dash slash and not the entire dash combo, and aerial combo isn't really much needed. But if, let's say for example, you have high ping or you have trouble in avoiding storm mechanics, then you can unlearn Triple Slash and learn aerial combo instead, because what aerial combo will do is it will increase the amount of airtime you have for your Magic Swordmaster. Parrying stance to me is a must to have at least at level 1 because it's a very good skill to prevent you from dying. For the Magic Swordmaster, actually the best skill to learn is your Provoking Slam because it increases the amount of damage that you deal for all your other skills. After you have learned Provoking Slam, you can move on to the 4 main skills of your class, which should be Moonlight Splitter, Crescent Cleave, Half Moon Slash, and lastly is your Cyclone Slash. But I highly recommend either going for Moonlight Splitter first, especially because you are getting your first EX skill in the patch, the 50 level cap, so get this first. And for me, because my expert level is still level 13, I'm not able to learn any of those complicated skills, so instead I have placed expert skill points into impact wave. For your combined skill, you want to put everything into magical attack, and for the rest of the skill points, if you have any additional extra points, you either put it into the final damage if the final damage percentage increases, or you can put it in the damage dealt. For a Magic Swordmaster skill rotation, it is very straightforward and easy to execute. You will start with Provoking Slam, activate Brave, use Great Wave, then proceed to spam your 4 main skills, which are Moonlight Splitter, Crescent Cleave, Cyclone Slash, and then Half Moon Slash. The order in which you use your 4 main skills does not matter too much, and it will depend on the boss mechanics and animation. When other skills are on cooldown, you can use Impact Wave and Circle Break. The main idea here is to apply the debuffs and activate your buffs before you start using your skills to attack the enemy. In addition to this, almost all of the Magic Swordmaster skill can be cancelled while casting using your Tumble skill. You can cancel your Moonlight Splitter, Cyclone Slash, Crescent Cleave, Half Moon Slash, and even Great Wave almost during any time in the casting animation. Lastly, let's also talk about the future for Magic Swordmaster players. During the 50 cap, we know that the Magic Swordmaster specializes into the Moonlord, where you will unlock 2 main skills, which are the Moonblade Dance and Flash Stance. You will also unlock your first EX skill, which is the Moonlight Splitter EX, which will increase the damage it deals. Based on the trend in the OG Dragoness, the Moonlord was a popular class despite his DPS not being the greatest. His damage is not bad, but just remember that INT classes need more investments to dish out higher damage. The Moonlord continues to excel in dealing damage from a distance, and his skill animation does not disappoint players. Overall, if you have been enjoying the playstyle of the Magic Swordmaster so far, you will love using the Moonlord when the 50 cap releases. If you would like to see more Dragoness guides, consider subscribing for more class views. We are currently very close to 500 subscribers, and your subscription means a lot to me. As always, I appreciate every single one of you watching this video. This is Zen, signing out.